how do you make a career in show business? Join us on the set where we meet groundbreaking Hollywood talents who made bold decisions to pursue their dreams of making entertainment history on screen.
Hey, I'm Sean Edwards, bringing you another episode of On the Set, where we take you behind the scenes on some of Hollywood's biggest movies and TV shows as I introduce you to some of the individuals who make it happen behind the scenes.
3, 2. All right, movie lovers, TV lovers, I have a special treat for you on this episode of On the Set. I have filmmaker, director, writer, producer, Miss Jade-Jenise Dixon. Me and you, I go kind of way back with you as a filmmaker to one of your first projects, but on this episode, on the set, I like to get to the origin story of how this all started. And I don't know if we've ever really had the opportunity to talk about that. So I know you were born in Omaha, but grew up here in Atlanta, which is now one of the film meccas here in American filmmaking. And I grew up Omari Hardwick up the street playing football with him, Omar Dorsey, the late great Erica Ash, Donald Glover and Chris Tucker around the corner. So it always had this groundswell of talent here in Atlanta before they even started making TV and film. But how did you start on that journey?
Oh my goodness. So as you said, I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, and I lived there till I was 12. I was in, all the Christmas plays and church plays, and, my mom put me in acting school, and there was always something about me wanting to do more than act. Like I really wanted to have some say in the creativity of how things are organized, which is directing. But I didn't know what that was. Moved to Atlanta when I was 12 and went to Northside School of the Arts, and I was in the acting program. And I, petitioned to be able to put on, direct a play while I was in high school. And normally the teachers direct the plays, not the students. But I kind of got around that by asking to do it for Black History Month, and we got to do it. However, back then there was an issue. Parents were complaining they didn't want the Black, show to go on, and we were told we couldn't do it. And the day before, we were told we couldn't do the play. And I remember all of our cast members, parents, calling the school, and it's Atlanta. And so my mom called Coretta Scott King. She knew her. Other people's parents were calling the SCLC. I mean, it was a huge thing. They were all calling the school. And so I just remember being pulled out of school one by one and going to the principal's office, and they were like, whatever you guys have done, we need you to undo it, because it's, we even called into the radio, it would be 103. And miraculously, we were able to put on the play, because what they were saying was, oh, the theater's closed for construction. Well, you just had a dance recital in here a few weeks ago. So that was my first kind of true crack at directing, was directing that play. And it went 3 nights. We had a packed house 3 nights probably because of the controversy. And it went very well, standing ovation. I was in it and I directed it. So that's kind of how that started, from Atlanta, Omaha to Atlanta, and then Miami, University of Miami. I was at University of Miami.
That was for Color Girls, right?
That was for Color Girls. So yeah, so thanks for asking. So it was for color. It was actually a medley. Okay. Miami was a medley. So in Atlanta, we did the full For Color Girls play. And then in Miami, when I went to University of Miami, I used the same formula of, can I do this for Black History Month? And I did the Scarlet Letter, which I played Hester Prynne, which was a non-traditional casting. And back then, Black people didn't play Hester Prynne. That could happen today. And then at NYU, I did a medley of For Color Girls, Fences, and the Color Museum. And so directed and acted in all of those. And that's how that started.
How was your first, how was it to get the acceptance letter to NYU? I'm guessing from that era, I know Dean Campbell is no longer there, but I'm sure that you Was Dean Campbell your dean while you was at Tisch?
I'm not gonna say because that's gonna
Oh.
that's gonna tell you my age now.
I've been to dinner at Dean Campbell's and
Okay.
some of the school with me. But like I was just getting accepted to Tisch and like having that acceptance of like, hey, look, I get to go on this journey that a lot of successful artists have been through.
It was really I don't know that I truly believed it because being from Nebraska, you just never know that you could be in a place like New York. Like that just seemed like Sodom and Gomorrah to my mom. She's like, you going to Sodom and Gomorrah. But I loved it. Like I wanted to be in this place with all this energy and all these artists. It was interesting because I was at the University of Miami at the time when I left to go audition for Juilliard and Tisch. And I was already a Miami Hurricane cheerleader, already had a national championship ring for, winning, the championships. And people were like, why would you leave that and transfer to New York? Well, it was mostly because it was New York. And we had gone there for a game at Madison Square Garden basketball team. And I had never been. And I was like, wow, like this is where I think I want to be right now. And so I left and I went to audition for both Juilliard and NYU. Juilliard was first, and I auditioned for that. And then it was like 8 people out of the hundreds was on this list, right? So they have the list. You've probably seen this in movies where they have the list like, posted, and then everyone's like trying to see if their name is on it, and I looked and my name was on it. So I was in the top 8 with Juilliard. I didn't eventually get in, but I had gotten into Tisch, but I didn't know I got into Tisch. Juilliard tells you, I think right away, yeah. And then Tisch, you get a letter in the mail. So I did the same audition that I did for Juilliard with Tisch. And I got that letter and I was like, I guess I'm going to New York. This will be an adventure, which for me, I welcome. I love adventures. So it was a turning point in my life for sure.
So eventually you make it to LA, and now you've had this training from performing arts school to all the way to college and now Tisch. You Truth Hall, which is where I met you at.
Right. Let's see if I go this way, you'll see it. The camera right there. Truth Hall.
Yeah. Truth Hall, which was amazing. This is like 2008, I believe.
Yeah, it came out in either 2008 or 2009. Yes.
As a filmmaker, I remember I was just talking to Barry Jenkins about this, and he was talking about Melancholy and his other first film, like actually finishing that first project. How much of a transformation does that make you from the theoretical, I'm trying to do this, to like now I've made a product. I've went through the talking shit about what I'm gonna do, and I got this idea, whatever, to now you've done it. Like, how important was that to you in your journey to really believe in yourself? You probably already did, but to believe in yourself is like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Well, I came out here initially to act, and I quickly knew that I wanted to be director. I mean, I did these independent films, Big Ain't Bad, How I Spent My Summer Vacation. I had a small part in First Time Felon with Omar Epps. And, then I did a movie called Truth Be Told with Blair Underwood. And it was fine, but then I wrote Truth Hall to star in, not to direct. And I had like a mentor who was going to direct, who everyone would know. I'm not going to say his name. I had several, A-list at the time celebrities attached to the project, letters of intent, everything you want. And then it got to the point of financing. Like, I was so young that I didn't really know how to leverage all the things that I had. So I got tired of waiting on someone to give me money. And I also could have leveraged it with the celebrities. They could have taken it to places, but like, I didn't know any of that. Right. So I said, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to do this myself. I'm just going to, talk to friends and finance this thing through friends, which because a couple of your friends invested in this movie. So I got the money, and it wasn't a whole lot of money, but it was enough to do a movie independently. And I had to direct because I couldn't afford my mentor, A, and B, he was busy at that time. So I was like, I had a co-director at one point, and he was also a friend, and we just didn't see eye to eye on some things as the time came. And my DP, cinematographer, we had lunch, and he said, "You don't need a co-director." I said, "Well, why do you say that?" He goes, "It's your story. It's your vision. You know this. You know how you want it shot. You're just afraid to do it." He says, "But don't worry. I got you." And I was like, "But I wrote it. I'm going to be in it. I'm producing it. You want me to also direct it?" And he's like, "You can do it." And I did. And I feel like it was where I really said, this is what I want to do. Directing. I mean, I can be in it fine, but I prefer to be behind the camera directing, because it's like a painter with a paintbrush. You get to just paint it to be how you want it to be. So, yeah.
The landscape has changed so much since then. I mean, it changed real fast. It seems like we're talking about, a century ago, the way the industry has changed since that release in 2008, 2009 till now, to where now the same film, if this was, you debuting that now, will have so many homes, whether it's Amazon or Hulu or Netflix, or even like the Tubies and Freebies and all these other fast channels that are now out there. How as a filmmaker and a producer, now that you look at the landscape of what's out there now, it's so much harder to get on the big screen, but there's so many other screens to get on. Does it change the compass of what projects you would try to make? As opposed to, I mean, because before it's like you really had to aim for that big screen. Like aiming for VOD wasn't even as much of a successful track back then, but now people are making films for Netflix. People are making films, and these films would have never been made back in the day.
Yeah.
Does it open up the artistic palette, so to speak, of what you can do as an artist, as a director now in this day and age?
I still think we have a long way to go with distribution, in terms of how things are done, because honestly, we didn't have a hard time with distribution for Truth Hall, which was refreshing, because a lot of films did. Like, you really had to jump through hurdles to get distribution before. You need to have celebrities in it. You needed to do all that. We had fresh faces at the time. I mean, now Karima Westbrook is in it, and she's now an All-American, and other people in the film are doing things. And I'm a director now, and I've been doing a lot since then. But at the time, we had all fresh faces. No one had really done much. But it was the story. It was the story that sold it. And we debuted on Netflix. But that was like, there was no more blockbusters. So you had to either go on Netflix or, something else. So it was Netflix. And then we ended up on BET for 3 long years. I mean, it's not long. It was great that this small film ended up on BET. And then in the 15-year journey, we also ended up on Bounce TV. Where else have we been? We've been on All Black, and we've been on Tubi, was the very last place. And now the rights have reverted back to me after 15 years, and we're gonna post to different places now. So the landscape is different. But it hasn't really been that beneficial to filmmakers, unless we are able to get on our platforms ourselves, or have very transparent accounting, which some of them do now. Some of these distributors are allowing you to see exactly how many views it's getting, exactly how much money has been made, and send you your check. That's great. But I think some of the excitement of being picked up is gone, because there's so many places to put it.
Yeah.
So you just if you get a Netflix now, like that's great. You know, Tubi's good. I just think we have a long way to go in terms of like real transparency with distribution. But I don't know if I answered your question, but you know, it's better and worse. It's glass half full. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So since I know you got the fellowship at Disney and was able to work on that program, got an Emmy nomination, I believe, and but now you have other projects that you're working on. You're on the festival circuit right now. Can you tell us about that project?
Yeah, so during the strike, the very long strike, and you know, hard fought and deservingly won by WGA and SAG, there was really no work. So I decided to shoot a short film called Yellow Inside, and it's on the festival circuit right now. Eventually, I'll have it on my YouTube channel, but right now, it's in the festivals. You can't really put it anywhere, but depending on when people are watching this, it might end up, you know, somewhere where they can click on it and see it. It has won an award so far, and it's been only so far in 3 festivals, Burbank International, LA Shorts, and I forgot the other ones, something Shorts. And that's the one that we won, but it's just my head is spinning right now. So yeah, I mean, and also, you know, I did Dog Park, which I think it's over there, a film called Dog Park, that can be seen, you know, everywhere. You can even see it on YouTube for free, through indie rights. So Dog Park is out there. That's a movie that I produced and directed several years ago. So not 15 years ago, probably more like 5 or 6 years ago, something like that. Yeah, and then Yellow Inside is the most recent project that is out in the festivals now.
Yeah, that's a short. Are you or do you have any features that you're in development with, and how's that journey going with that right now?
Yeah, so Peony Park, even though there's a poster, it hasn't been done yet. I've been in development for a little while. We started development, I believe, in end of 2019, then the pandemic hit. So now we're in development with that. One other project that I'm working on, which I can't talk about yet. I'm not the writer, but I'll be the director on it. And it's a feature film. Mostly I'm focused on TV directing, which has taken up a lot of my time. I just directed 3 episodes of TV this year and 1 the year prior, which is Raven's Son, which I got the Emmy nomination for. It was my first TV directing episode, and I got an Emmy nomination, which was quite amazing. And yeah, so and developing my own shows for development. So I'm hoping to sell a show myself. So the focus is in that order, which is developing the show, TV directing, and developing things like Peony Park and the other projects, which are feature films.
This is for all the creatives that's out there watching this. When you're writing and you get to that 3rd act or whatever, like, what is your process for writer's block? Like when you get stuck, like how do you get unstuck to finish these projects? So there's so many people with half of a good story, 3/4 of a good story, just a good idea. Some people put it, you know, the pen to paper or the keyboard, the final draft already and started. But how do you get past getting stuck in the middle of it?
Sleep. You just go to sleep, you know, like you got to give your mind a break. You got to go to the gym. You got to get through it and then send it to people and ask them their opinions. Like, what do you think of this? And it doesn't have to be like industry people. Industry people are good too. But send it to your friends, and your friends will be honest with you. They may not know about, you know, structure and 1st, 2nd, 3rd act. They may not know all that stuff, but they know what they don't like and what they do like, right? And they'll say, well, why do you have this in there? And you're like, oh, why do I have that in there? You know, and then your industry friends will be very specific about, I don't like this character. You know, you haven't given me time to like this character. I don't understand how they're in love so fast. I didn't see that relationship grow. They'll give you very specific stuff. Or I love this because I did see that relationship grow, and I love the secret plot and secret twist. So if I get writer's block, it's all about sending it to people, me checking out. And even if it's for a whole week, if I can't get back into it, I check out, I go to the gym, I go to sleep, I stream Netflix, that's, whatever it is. I just completely check out and let other people handle it until that inspiration comes back.
Are there any filmmakers that I'm not gonna say mimic, but that whoever their style is, that you really just maybe admire their drive, their track, whatever they're doing, just on a business level or artistic level, that you kind of just like continue just to look up to, or just follow their processes to how they get into where they are?
Yes. All of that. I mean, so I know I love Tyler Perry's business acumen. He's a great example of just the business part of it, you know what I mean? And his talent, but the business part of it is people ignore, you know what I mean? Shonda Rhimes, she's not a filmmaker, but she creates shows. Like, that sister's doing it, and she's doing it very well. And that's for me what I aim to be. In terms of style of shooting, I really love the Wachowski sisters, who did Bound and The Matrix. The Matrix 1 was my favorite. They were the Wachowski brothers, but now they're both trans and Wachowski sisters. I love the way they shoot, especially the movie Bound. There are just so many. Who else? I mean, there's so many. There's just too many to name, but for sure, Tyler, Shonda, people like that.
And we feature every weekend on Black Tree. We have like this throwback cinema weekend, and most of these movies are like 50 years old and coming from Blaxploitation era. Like this weekend, we did Sounder, MMA, John Finocchio's MMA, and we also did Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy. Like, when you look back, like what's an old school film you'd like to see on Black Tree? I hope we could release Truth Hall on there at one time. But do you have like a favorite 70s movie or something that you would...
70s? Oh gosh, what was in the 70s? Let me think. I've seen your channel, and I see some of these movies I hadn't even heard of, and I'm like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. When was Car Wash done? What year was that?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that would be
gotta love Car Wash. The original. Gotta love the original Car Wash. Of course, the Blaxploitation movies, you know what I mean? Like, what's it? Shaft and Superfly, those are classics. You gotta love those. I prefer Foxy Brown, female led, which I love. You see someone's arm in your what is that?
Yeah, I know. I see the arm with poking back in the screen.
You have to crop that out. Being a filmmaker, I see every little thing. I'm like, what is that? like I'm at the monitor. Yeah, so Shaft, Foxy Brown. I love female driven projects, which there weren't that many back then.
Yeah.
The Wiz, one of my favorites. I don't know what year that was, but yeah, those are some good ones.
The industry has been very following Me Too, and Oscar So White has been trying to kind of right the ship with some of the inequities that's been going on. But this last year, politically, we've seen the American society do a big attack against DEI and everything. And we also see a lot of people, just if we go by the numbers of the votes, people that you thought were like not leaning this other direction, secretly leaning that other direction. Do you fear that there's going to be a retraction from this openness to put more diverse faces in front and behind the screen on these movie sets in these next couple of years, since there's the appetite in America seems to be going towards anti-diverse right now?
Well, first of all, that's not all of America. Trump won by, 2 million votes or something like that. That's not a lot. It was 74 million to like 72 million, roughly. So there's still a lot of people who want to see themselves on screen. So, and that said, I don't think that all of Hollywood is going to go backwards. I think most of Hollywood will continue with diversity because that's who we are. That's the culture that has become Hollywood. We still have too far to go for people to start replacing DEI programs in Hollywood. I think it will happen because it's already started happening even before the Project 2025 discussions. It started happening, but it hasn't happened everywhere. So I have to continue to be hopeful that we won't go back, because there's too many of us that have stories to tell, and there's too many Americans who want to see themselves on screen, and they're not going to see themselves on screen if there's not a DEI program at these studios.
Well, Jade-Jenise Dixon, we are excited to continue to follow your journey. It's been great to see, you and Kareem in particular just continue to like grow in your career since I met you. I created True Fall, and I'm hoping that in these next projects that you'll have more talent, because that's one thing I've always loved about Spike. When you go back and you see the Rosie Perez's and Mekhi Phifer's and all these people, these faces that were introduced to us through Spike making these films. And I always love to see filmmakers take chances on talent take chances on filmmakers, and see them like kind of grow from there. So I hope we get to continue to see that when you make Peony Park, when you finally make Peony Park. I hope we get to see some new faces that you break again, and we'll always be a fan. So we'll keep on making these films, keep on making these TV, and we'll keep on watching.
Yeah, and I'm proud of you too, because we, like you said, we've known each other a while, and you've got Black Tree TV up and running, and it's doing really well. So that's how it should be. You shouldn't fast forward 15, 20 years later and people are in the same spot, and we're not. And I appreciate you actually bringing me on to do this. This is gonna be great. So it's very good to see you, Jamal.
And after the film festival circuit, we want to come back and talk about your short, and maybe you could like introduce that to the audience, and hopefully again, I'm gonna put it out there again. If we could do True Fall, I'll love to have you as a live audience member to talk to the fans out there that get to see True Fall. So we'll see what happens with that in the future.
Oh, that would be great. Yay.
Thank you for everything. Thanks for your time on the set. And Black Tree audience, y'all can follow Jade-Jenise Dixon on all her socials. And she has a YouTube channel, so subscribe to your YouTube. Is it Jade-Jenise Dixon?
You know what? I do nothing with it, but after this, I'm going to it's right now. It's under. I have a Jade-Jenise Dixon, and I have a Parker Street Productions YouTube channel. So I will send you the links so that people can know exactly where to go. I don't have to just Google. You can just put it underneath, because I have to be better about my YouTube channel.
Her link tree of all her links will be in the description of this video. You want to follow along, you want to cheer her on, you want to be an intern, you know how to find her. Thanks for your time, Jade.
All right, thank you.
Take care.
Oh, wait, don't forget, please, you can see Dog Park anywhere right now.
Watch Dog Park, and we're going to put a link for that also down there. Thank you.
All right, making you work. Thanks, Jamal.